Part 14. Lizaveta and the Tavern Conversation. Later, Raskolnikov found out why the man who sold things at the market and his wife had called Lizaveta to their home that evening. The reason was very simple, and there was nothing special or surprising about it at all. A family had come to the city some time ago. They had been rich before, but now they had very little money. They needed to sell the things they had in their house, furniture, clothes, and other objects, mostly women's things. If they tried to sell these things in the open market, nobody would pay much for them. So they needed to find a dealer, a person who buys and sells second-hand goods. This was exactly the kind of work that Lizaveta did. She helped people like this family very often. People trusted her because she was very honest. She always set a fair price and never changed it. She did not talk very much, and as we already know, she was a very quiet and shy person. She never argued or made trouble. She just did her work and went home. But Raskolnikov had started to believe in strange signs and coincidences. He had become superstitious. This means he believed that certain things happened for a reason, that they were not accidents. Even much later in his life, these feelings stayed with him and were very hard to remove. He always felt that mysterious forces were working around him, that strange things happened to him on purpose, as if someone or something was guiding his steps. Let us go back a little in time. During the previous winter, Raskolnikov had met a student named Pokarev. Pokarev was leaving the city to go to Kharkov, a city far away. Before he left, Pokarev mentioned, almost by accident, the name of a woman, Alyona Ivanovna, an old woman who lent money to people. She was a pawnbroker, which means that if you brought her something valuable, like a watch or a ring, she would give you some money for it. If you paid her back with interest extra money on top of what she gave you, you could get your object back. If you did not pay her back, she kept your object and sold it. Pokarev gave Raskolnikov the address of this old woman, just in case he ever needed money. For a long time, Raskolnikov did not go to her. He was teaching some students as a private tutor, and he had enough money to live. He did not want to see the old woman. Then, about 6 weeks before the events we are reading about now, Raskolnikov remembered the address. He had 2 things he could use as a pledge, something to give to the pawnbroker in exchange for money. One was an old silver watch that had belonged to his father. The other was a small gold ring with 3 red stones on it, a gift from his sister, given to him when he left home. He decided to take the ring to the old woman. When he arrived at her apartment and saw her for the first time, he felt a very strong dislike for her immediately. He could not explain why. She had not done anything bad to him yet. He just looked at her and felt sick inside. She gave him 2 rubles, a small amount of money for the ring. He took the money and left. On his way home, he went into a small, cheap tavern, a place where people drink tea or alcohol and sit for a while. He ordered tea, sat down at a table, and started to think. A strange idea had been growing in his mind for some time. It was like a small bird inside an egg moving around, trying to get out. This idea was taking more and more of his attention. At the table next to him, very close, sat a student he had never seen before, and a young military officer. They had been playing billiards, and now they were drinking tea together. Raskolnikov was not listening to them on purpose, but then he suddenly heard the student say the name Alyona Ivanovna, the pawnbroker, and even give the officer her address. This was very strange. Raskolnikov had just come from her apartment, and now, in this tavern, 2 strangers were talking about her. Of course, it was just a coincidence. But Raskolnikov could not stop feeling that it meant something. It felt as if someone was speaking directly to him, sending him a message. He listened carefully to everything the student said. "She is very useful," the student told the officer. "You can always get money from her. She is very rich. She can give you 5,000 rubles if you need it, and she will also give you money for very small things, even for 1 ruble. Many students use her, but she is a terrible old woman, like a monster." The student then described how mean and unpredictable she was. If you were even 1 day late in paying her back, she would keep your object and not return it. She gave you only 1/4 of the real value of your object, and she charged 5 or even 7% interest every month. The student kept talking. He said that the old woman had a sister named Lizaveta. The old woman always hit Lizaveta and treated her like a slave, even though Lizaveta was tall and strong, about 6 feet high. "What a strange thing," said the student, and he laughed. Then the 2 men started talking more about Lizaveta herself. The student spoke about her with interest and laughed often. The officer was also curious and asked the student if Lizaveta could come and do some sewing for him. Raskolnikov listened to every word and learned many things about her. Lizaveta was younger than the old woman. She was the old woman's half-sister. They had the same father, but different mothers. Lizaveta was 35 years old. She worked from early morning to late at night cooking, washing clothes, cleaning and sewing. She gave all the money she earned to her sister. She was not allowed to take any job or accept any order without her sister's permission. The old woman had already written her will, the legal document that says who gets your money when you die. Lizaveta knew what was in this will. According to it, Lizaveta would receive nothing, not even 1 coin. All the money would go to a monastery, a religious place, so that the monks there would pray for the old woman's soul after she died. Lizaveta would only receive some old furniture chairs and things like that. Lizaveta was not from a high social class. She had never married. She was not pretty in the traditional sense. She was very tall, with large feet that turned outward. She always wore old goatskin shoes. But she was clean and neat. The student said the most surprising thing about her was that she was almost always pregnant. "But you said she is ugly?" the officer asked. "Well, her face is dark, and she looks a bit like a soldier wearing women's clothes," the student replied. "But she is not really ugly. She has a kind face and very nice eyes, strikingly so, and many people like her. She is soft and gentle. She always agrees with everything, always willing to help. And her smile is really very sweet." "It sounds like you like her yourself," the officer said, laughing. "I like her because she is so unusual," the student answered. "But listen, I want to say something serious. I could kill that damned old woman, take her money, and I would feel no guilt at all. Not the faintest." The officer laughed again. But Raskolnikov felt a cold shiver go through his body. He was shocked. Why? Because the student was saying exactly what Raskolnikov himself had been thinking.
Подпишись, пожалуйста, или хотя бы поставь лайк. 1 лайк не меняет мир, но меняет путь того, кто делится смыслом.